Judy, it's Jim from Madison. Just as Bob was talking about the subtitle of your book, isn't that your theory? I mean, evidence that directed free energy technology was responsible for the destruction of the Twin Towers? I mean, why would you not call that a theory?
Evidence is not theory. You can look those words up in the dictionary.
Judy, I know a lot about the words. That's my profession as a philosopher, and I'm also puzzled by your statement, empirical evidence is a truth that theory must mimic. If a theory is mimicking the empirical evidence, then it's just replicating it. What this should say is empirical evidence is a truth that theory must explain. Don't you purport to have an explanation for the data?
Dr. Wood? Are you with us?
Let me add one final point, Bob, and then you know, if Judy wants to continue talking, but not to me, that's fine. If the theory is that directed free energy technology was responsible for 9/11, then unless she maintains that these 19 Islamic fundamentalists were responsible for that directed free energy technology, she actually does have some beliefs about who was responsible. I found it very odd that she would open with the claim that she had no beliefs about whether the government was or was not responsible here, when who else than the American military and the American government could possibly be responsible for the destruction of the Twin Towers using directed free energy technology? And I'll let you guys have your conversation, Bob, and thanks for having me on.
Thanks for your call. Judy, your response to that?
If you would like to have that caller as a guest on your show, please do that. If you want to give a testimonial. I'm here to present evidence. And there are various folks who want to cover up the evidence, who want to spin it. They are not interested in the truth if they are doing that. That's all I will say.
Okay, but he does raise a legitimate question. Who could be that sophisticated in perpetrating this attack? And we've been looking at the what, to be fair, so I think it's...
I do not speculate as to who did it.
Right.
I'm only discussing the evidence and where the evidence leads and what the evidence will tell us.
Okay, Jim, does that answer your question?
Well, I don't think it does. I mean, it's very strange. Judy has right on her book, evidence of directed free energy technology. That's a theory. There's no way escaping it. It's a theory that is supposed to explain the evidence. She's done a brilliant job of laying out the evidence. And if that's her account, then that's her theory. And if that's her theory, then it certainly implies that 19 Islamic fundamentalists weren't responsible unless she thinks that they could have used directed free energy technology to destroy the World Trade Center, which is absurd. So obviously, her views imply that the government and the military were responsible here. I don't know why she should run away from it, and this isn't a difficult question. I'm not asking anything subtle here. It's very obvious. It's right on the cover of her book. That's her theory.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your input on that. Dr. Judy, you dropped off there. Did you hear what he said?
No, and I don't think this is a fruitful use of time.
Okay.
We could be discussing evidence instead of somebody's spin on how to cover up the evidence.
All right, fair enough.
The book is entitled, Where Did the Towers Go? Evidence of Directed Free Energy Technology on 9/11. Evidence is not theory.
All right, so Jim, do you have a question then in regards to the evidence?
Well, sure. She says it's evidence of. If it's evidence of, then it's evidence of what she takes to explain it. I mean, I'm not trying to spin anything, and it's ridiculous for her to suggest that. If she can't answer a simple, obvious question about her use of the word theory, then that's a problem with her conceptual equipment. There's nothing complicated here. If it's evidence of directed free energy technology, then that's her theory, and it obviously has implications for who could have used such a technology on 9/11. I don't understand why she should run away from it. There's nothing wrong with it. It appears to be right. If her theory is right, the consequences certainly appear to be well-founded. Now, it may be still debatable whether she has the best explanation, but she's certainly done the most to explain the evidence, for which I applaud her. And I'm not trying to spin anything anyway. I'm just asking for conceptual clarification, including about her use of this claim, empirical evidence is a truth that theory must mimic, because what we want is the truth that theory must explain. It's misleading to suggest that the empirical evidence is a truth that the theory must mimic, because that would just replicate the evidence.
All right, fair enough.